You have
Yeah.
my permission.
Okay, I'm going to
You have my-
record this. I'm going to record this because I don't think Welcoming the Strangers ever had a guest presenter before. So they said, why don't you record it? So I said, okay, I will. And whoever comes along, yeah, it's already time. So we'll just start and whoever comes will come. I want to say hi, good evening to you all, and to thank you for coming. Tonight we're having my favorite cousin, my very favorite cousin, and it's not a very good field, but my very favorite cousin, Charles Hoffman, who lives in California. His mother was my mother's sister. My Aunt Norma and my mother were best friends like this. And I was actually closer to his mother than I was to my mother. His mother was like my sister. I was very close with his mother and loved her very much. And he lived in New York and we lived in Texas, and they used to come and see us in the summers. And I moved here and they all moved to California. So go figure. But or all over the place. Anyway, I would like all of you to introduce yourselves to Charles, and then he'll introduce himself to you, okay? Natasha?
Hi, I'm Natasha. I am originally from Ukraine, and I live in the US already 20 years. I have 3 sons. One is choosing the college right now. It's very painful and hard because he doesn't know to. He just got his first car, so it's lots of first job and everything. So yeah, he's so we just like
trauma.
Yeah.
And where do you live?
Warrington. It's Warrington, half an hour away from Yardley.
Okay, all of these people are Pennsylvania, Charles.
Okay.
Okay, Elena Lugina. Thank you, Natasha. Elena Lugina.
Hello, I'm Yelena. I'm from Russia. Currently, I live in Warminster. I live in United States more than 3 years. In Russia, I was contract department specialist, and in United States, I'm working in home health care agency as caregiver.
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 I have a husband, but right now he is in Russia, and adult son. My son married, and right now he lives separately from me.
Okay, good. Thank you. Elena Raykova.
Hi, my name is Elena. I am from Bulgaria. I have been in United States for years. Last week, we celebrated 28 years wedding anniversary with my husband.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes. We have 2 kids, they're grown ups, and I'm super happy, especially now with COVID, that they're adults and they're on their own, and I don't need to deal with what the rest of the girls here and in general, the young family are dealing. As you can see, I work for the postal office. I'm super happy. I love my job. I have been with the postal office for 15 years. I enjoy my job. The office is 5 minutes away from my house. I live in Yardley, very close to Debbie. I like to do flower arrangements. That's my latest. It's not flowers. It's my husband's wine cork and a little bit dry flowers.
I like that.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
Rosa drinks a lot of wine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
about me.
That's great. Thank you. I call her the boss because she's real bossy. Tamar?
Hello, everyone again. So my name is Tamar. I'm from Georgia country. I'm 33 years old. I have husband, one son. He's dancing class right now, and my husband is with him. And she's my daughter. She's 1 year old. So I'm here more than 2 years in America. I live in Pfisterville, Pennsylvania. In my country, so I was lawyer and I was working at school like school resource officer, like school police officer, and we help persons who had people's who had problem like psychologist problem, or if somebody was had problem in their families. So my job was very difficult and I have a lot of responsibility there. It was really hard. So, and I have a lot of experience, and I'm really happy to have like 9-year experience communicate with kids, and it really helps me to communicate. My son especially, she's not talking and she's fine right now, but so I miss my country and I hope I will come back in about 4 years.
Okay,
So it's my,
very good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. So that's the gang -3. I don't know where the other 3 are, but anyway, that's the gang, Charles. Charles, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? And then, tell us about how you got involved in wood carving and puppets.
Okay, well, first I'd like
Say
to,
one thing. Let me say one thing. If he's saying something that I think you may not understand, I'll type it in the chat, the word. But if you have any questions for him or you don't understand anything, raise your hand, ask questions, because this is a conversation class, not just for you to sit there, okay? So feel free to ask. Okay, Charles.
well, first let me say hello to everybody. It's a pleasure.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to be here to speak to the group like this. This whole Facebook thing is very new to me. I was never really exposed much to it. So if I make any mistakes, please let me know. My name is Charles Hoffman, originally from New York City, a place called Rockaway Beach. It was right on the water, the Atlantic Ocean and the Jamaica Bay on the other side. I moved to Southern California in 1980 with my wife, Shelley, of 46 years. My brother also married a Shelley, so my mother had a hard time. Big Shelley, little Shelley. It was always so confusing. But we didn't have any children when we moved to Southern California, and now we had a family while we lived here. We had 3 adult children now, 2 girls and a son. And we've also been blessed with 2 grandchildren and another one on the way in May. And it's a wonderful experience.
Where do you live?
We live in Vista, California, which is about 40 miles north of San Diego. It's a very beautiful area. The climate is probably, they advertise it as the best climate in the United States. Year-round temperature, 70s, in the 70s. I know you people, very, very cold right now. Very cold. So I retired in 2014. I always enjoyed working with wood. I didn't work with wood as a professional. I worked in the construction industry for almost 35 years. I was a drywall finisher. I don't know if anybody knows what that is.
Nope, exactly.
I work on the walls. I got the walls ready for the painters. So if you look around your apartment or your house right now, all those walls, I would get the walls ready for the painters, basically.
And what is the procedure? You need to use like sandpaper or something
I-
like that to make it even?
That's correct. You use what's called joint compound, and you would tape the walls with paper tape, and you coat the tape 2 or 3 times, and then you do your sanding, and then you could spray a texture on it, or you can do a hand texture, and then it would be ready for the painters.
You would actually put up the sheetrock.
I didn't hang the sheetrock. Those were hangers. Hangers would hang the
I
sheetrock.
see that you finished.
I was called a finisher.
Okay.
Okay. I got out of that work after about almost 40 years, and I went to work for the Transportation Security Administration, TSA. If you've ever traveled through the airports, don't say anything negative to me, please. I became a supervisor with them at the checkpoint, and I enjoyed that work very much. And in 2014, I was lucky enough and I retired. I'm going to be 70 years old in May. And so as far as the woodworking, that's been my hobby. One of the earliest pieces I did was back in 1978. I made this little truck.
Wow.
I've made furniture over the years. I've made little toys. When I retired, I joined a wood carving group. Other people who just sat around and they would carve wood. And it was more of a social thing, and it was a lot of fun. You know, you got together with people, but then COVID hit, and that kind of broke up our gatherings. We couldn't do that anymore. So I've carved a lot of different things. I've carved spoons. I love to cook. If you notice, there's a heart.
Uh-huh.
I carve my spoons with a heart because when you're in the kitchen and you're cooking, you cook with love. Otherwise, don't go in the kitchen.
That's true.
Right?
Yes. My
Then you-
husband always says when something goes wrong that I didn't put enough love in the cooking.
Yeah.
You should tell him he should have cooked.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's good. He does a lot of barbecue
know.
stuff. Yeah.
Wonderful.
But you can see right away, if you don't cook with love, the food is not tasty. It's not good.
Exactly. So, like I said, I've put hearts on my spoons. I've done pieces. This is a piece of wood. This was a solid piece of wood.
Mhm.
And I was able to carve this.
That was one piece and
That
you
was one
carved it out
solid-
of there?
That's correct. That was a solid piece of wood. Probably looked something like this.
Wow.
Wow.
One of the more fascinating things I've done. And
Charles,
this is
did you
called,
design that? Did you
No,
design
no, I
that or
didn't
did you use a
design.
pattern?
that was a pattern.
Okay.
This is X's and O's. The same principle, a solid piece of wood.
Wow.
It's amazing what you can do with wood.
What kind of instruments do you use for carving?
Okay. Basically, you use what's called a carving knife.
Mm-hmm.
You can carve pretty much anything with a knife like this. You also use gouges, which are curved, if you can see the curve. There's all different kinds of gouges. There's no end to what you can buy. Anytime you have a hobby, there's no end. There's always another tool or something else to purchase. These are comfort birds.
Yeah.
I've made about 30 of these, and I've given these away to people who are ill or who are in some kind of distress. I don't charge any money for them. I've given these away to people I don't even know, that I've never even met. And I'll mail these to them. It's a comfort bird.
I
Out of
have
this,
I have a comfort bird he sent me when we were communicating when COVID started, and we were both unhappy. And he sent me that, and it's my treasure.
it's meant to be held in the hand like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I've known people who, with their last breath, have had this in their hand.
Really?
Yeah. It's a
Somebody
very
who was
special.
dying?
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh, comfort
Yeah.
bird.
The comfort bird. Woodworking, you can do all different kinds of things. This is called, this is wood burning. This is done with different kinds of tips that get hot and that burns into the wood. You can color them with colored pencils, or you can paint it. So this was a pattern that I traced. This is wood burning.
That was one of my questions I was planning to ask. My father used to do this kind of like woodwork. He had like a pencil with electric end, and with this pencil, he was like drawing pictures or this kind of spoons or decorative items. He carved them with this electric pen, if I can say it. And
That's exactly
they were
right.
beautiful. He did like roosters, different animals. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it's a really a wonderful hobby, because like you just said about your dad, there's so many different aspects of it that you can work with.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my prized things. This is a polar bear. This was made out of the same piece of wood. So I'm going to take them apart. I made it so I can take them apart. But of course he's not. Oh, here he goes. And if you notice, he fit right into this piece of wood like this. This was all one piece. So I used this piece for the stand, and then I created the bear. He's got a little fish there.
Oh, got a fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very clever.
Okay, so about a year ago, my wife Shelley was on the internet, and she saw a thing about puppet building, and she thought that would be something that I would be interested in. I never worked with puppets. I didn't really know anything about puppets except as a child. So I took the class, and I'm about 6 months into it, and it's just been an unbelievable experience. It's with a teacher. His name is Bern Ogrognik. He lives in Iceland, and we get a class every week. There's 2 lessons. The lessons go on for a month.
There's a picture of him, Charles.
There's Bern. He's originally from Germany. Somehow he ended up in Iceland. You never know where life is going to take you. And he is an excellent, excellent performer and teacher. He traveled prior to COVID. He traveled all over the world, and he does shows, because puppets are meant to be, they perform. Puppets perform. So one of the first puppets I've made, this is called a tabletop puppet. And his name is Baker Buddy. And he's operated on a table. He'll walk on a table. His legs are on a pendulum, like on a clock.
Baker Buddy.
He's Baker Buddy, yeah. Baker Buddy. He's got a little sign there.
He makes bread, cookies, cakes,
And pizza dough.
pizza dough.
Oh, yeah, because he's actually a takeoff. He's almost like my character, because when I have no formal training in any kind of artwork or anything, so I just create from whatever's in here. This is Baker Buddy. He's a
Are these
tabletop puppet.
puppets the same size when you took the class, and probably you did different kind of puppets? Are they the same size, or you can have like whatever you like?
You can design any kind of puppet that you want.
Mhm.
Byrne gives out a set of plans. This is the one I'm working on now. I'll show you in a few moments, but you'll get a technical drawing like this.
Mhm.
If you notice all the pieces,
Yes.
all of these pieces get transferred to a block of wood. Here's the hands. Here's the front view. This is the profile view. And now I'll cut this out on a saw. This particular puppet has, this is more advanced right now. He's gonna have it so that his legs will bend at the knee and will also move at the foot.
Mhm.
His hands will move in addition, and his head. This is a hard puppet.
That's the one you're going to make.
This is the one I'm working on right now. I've got a
And
box here with all the pieces that I've been cutting out. This is his body. This is going to be one of the legs, the upper leg.
but the hands looks like very big for the body. Is
The
that
hand still-
normal?
It still has to be carved and shaped.
Okay, okay.
This is still just in the rough form. So it's been a
Now I
wonderful.
can see in the cube, they look like the similar size. In the beginning, when you show us only the hand, it looks like huge. But now comparing with the other cubes, it's, yes, it's a
Right,
normal size.
After I cut it out, then I'll shape it.
Mhm.
So this is, Baker Buddy is called a tabletop puppet. When a puppet master is performing, he's able to do a lot of different acts in the theater with different types of puppets. He may have the same puppet as a marionette. He may have it as a hand puppet as well, because each puppet's able to do different things. So
That was your first one, Charles?
Baker Buddy was the first puppet, yeah.
Excuse me, how did you do the hair of this body?
Shelly is my wife is a quilter, and she had some kind of, what is this, wool?
Yeah.
Like fiber.
Do you know what a quilter is, everybody? You know,
Shelley, bring
she's very talented. She makes blankets.
Blanket, yeah.
She's gonna get one right now.
She's gonna get one. Both of them are just unbelievable, these two.
This was the next one. This is a hand puppet. This is Scrappy. Scrappy's been a wonderful little puppet. I've taken him to my granddaughter. I just took him hiking with us. Because puppets need to take on a character. They shouldn't just sit and do nothing. Oh, here's a quilt.
Well, this is not a quilt to use, it's more like an art quilt.
This is more like an art quilt that Shelly made.
Shelley, show us your little face. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's what Shelley makes,
It's amazing.
stuff like that.
Mhm.
This one's pretty
Beautiful.
interesting.
They're treasures.
There's-
Let's see, there she is.
Hi.
That's little Shelley.
Hello, nice to meet you all.
Nice.
Hello.
Hello.
You have a
Thank you
wonderful
for sharing
teacher.
that with us. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Really awesome.
Thank you.
Like,
Keeps my brain busy.
Got them all over the house.
I can't
You can
imagine
never-
how lovely grandma, grandpa you should be.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Grandpa
time.
is so it's right.
So
Sweet.
Charles, you were saying you took Scrappy for a walk because the puppet needs to take on a personality.
Puppets have a service, and that is to entertain an audience. And if you're watching a puppet show and you get captured by that character, the puppet has succeeded in doing what it's supposed to do. So we took Scrappy recently when we babysat our granddaughter. She didn't want to go to bed. So my wife is saying it's time to go to bed. I'm saying it's time to go to bed. No good. But then Scrappy came in and Scrappy told her that it was time to go to sleep. And she took on a whole nother personality when she interacted with Scrappy. And she went to sleep for Scrappy.
That's hysterical.
So-
And Shelley made the clothes that it's wearing and the hair.
I worked on the hair. Shelley has been my clothes designer. It's very, very difficult. She doesn't have any experience, nor do I, in sewing clothes like this. You're basically sewing clothes on a piece of wood.
Yeah.
So it's a learning process, like anything else. It's a learning process.
The classes that you take with this person in Ireland, he shows you how to do the wooden part, but what about the clothes, the hats, the shoes? Does he explain to you how to do this part?
He is going to give a lesson in that. He's going to have one of the people that does his sewing come on and talk to us. But as of now, he has kept that a big secret. If you go onto his website later and look at the things he does, you're going to just be amazed. You will be amazed at the puppets that he has created and the outfits that he has created. Just unbelievable.
Was that his career, or he does something else for a living and this is just a hobby for him?
This was a dream that he had as a child. And he just worked at it. He had nothing. He had nothing. When he left Germany, which is interesting because I just found out when he left Germany, he came down here to San Diego in 1984. And he was working as a framer in construction. And we were able to relate to that because I worked in construction also. He was 15 minutes from our house here in a city called Encinitas. But he worked his way up to be a world-renowned. He's a world-renowned puppet maker. He wants to keep alive the wooden puppet. Something like this will stay forever. I made a rocking horse for my niece 40-something years ago. She still has it. Oh, well, no, actually, she mailed it to my granddaughter. So she used the rocking horse for I don't know how many years.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So something made out of wood. He's very against plastics and, all the things that damage the environment. He's a very, very interesting person to just listen to and speak with.
Charles, who designs the look of the puppet's face?
That's up to the person doing the carving.
Okay, because that looks like something you would do, not someone else.
A lot of the people in the class have formal training in art and drawing. I have no formal training. So I let the wood kind of talk to me. And as I'm carving, a lot of times the character comes out of the wood.
Is there anything special in the puppet? For example, here in the mall, we used to have a store where they sell these teddy bears that you can fill up with the material and you put a heart inside and sew it, and this is your teddy bear. My kids love when they were younger to go to this store. Do you have anything special for the different kind of puppets that make them unique? Something that is like I don't know, inside them, like a heart or like a bracelet or something that is theirs.
I understand what you're saying. The particular puppets that I'm working on right now, they don't, the only unique thing is that I designed it. It doesn't have any kind of special heart or anything like that.
Okay.
The one I'm working on right now is going to have a certain kind of a feature like that.
Mhm.
The one I'm working on now is my Superman puppet, because I think we need a Superman now to spread the good word of kindness and goodness, and because it's a mess right now. The world is a mess. So he's going to have an S on his. He's going to have an S on his body like this,
Mhm.
and there'll be a light inside that'll light that S up. So that's
Oh,
what's going to be.
nice.
Yeah, that's going to be unique to him.
Yes.
Sorry, did you have any exhibition or it's just your collection, or do you have any plan to make or to have exhibition?
I don't think I'll ever get to that point in my work. If you go on that site and look at some of the work that people are doing, I mean, it's just amazing, amazing. So for me to have a group like this is my exhibition. This is what's bringing me a lot of happiness and joy, to be able to talk to you, to talk to you folks.
To
But-
share.
That's
How
wonderful.
did-
And I want them to feel comfortable to ask you questions.
Yeah.
Lagina and Natasha and Laura, feel free to ask a question if you have anything in your mind.
Scrappy is a one finger puppet. This is the only part that's wood right here, his head. And there's a hole that you put just one finger in. This is Coco. Coco is a two finger puppet. So you would two fingers. Coco is very glamorous. Coco has, and then once again, also just from that head this is the wooden part, the head, and the hands are wood. So I've got my pinky is in this hand. This has my thumb. Hello. And two fingers are in the head. So this is a two finger hand puppet. Say hello to everybody. Hi there. Who wants to go dance? Who wants to go dancing tonight? I have my pretty dress on.
Oh my.
I have my earrings. Look at my earrings. My nails are all done.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and by the way, look at my bling bling.
Oh,
Yeah.
bling, bling.
Yeah.
Who did you tell me that puppet Coco was supposed to be?
I felt the energy of my mother when I was making Coco. I could feel her aura around me.
Yeah.
My mother, even on her worst day, would always put fresh lipstick on. So even when she was sick, I would call her on the phone. I said, Mom, you got fresh lipstick on today? And she said, of course, Charles. I don't go anywhere without fresh lipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
she reminds me my husband's grandma. She was the same way. First thing in the morning, wash her face, put on a lipstick, always.
Uh-huh.
And after that,
Excellent.
everything else.
You gotta look good.
Yeah.
And Aunt Norma
Yes.
always wore earrings.
Always had earrings, yeah. So this is Coco, a two finger hand puppet. This here is what's called a rod puppet.
I
And
love
this is
that.
Yeah.
this is called Rainbow Fish. This is after a book. There's a book, a children's book called Rainbow Fish.
And this part, the end, the tail is like on a something like a nail to be able to move, or
It's
how
on
do
a
you do
piece.
that?
It's on a piece of leather. There's a piece of leather.
Uh-huh.
There's a slot.
Ah,
Yeah. And it has this little control with two strings,
yes.
and that flips the tail.
Yes.
This-
Now I can see, I just see the, in the beginning, I saw the wooden stick and I cannot see that there is something that is moving it. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And this is
Uh-huh.
called a rod puppet because it has a rod.
Yeah.
You can take a pencil and put something on the top of a pencil and it can become a puppet. Debbie has one right there.
Yeah,
That's
This is-
actually a
this is
puppet.
a pen.
That's
And
a
I
pen
showed
puppet.
this to him and he said, oh, that would be a puppet.
That's a puppet. Byrne did a show called Metamorphosis at the puppet show. And he took a ball, held it in his hand and put like fascinating, a little ball. And that became alive as a puppet. Just unbelievable. Fascinating. This is another rod puppet. Very, very difficult. He told us this would be a very difficult puppet. This is a bird, a yellow finch, I call him. And he has a control unit here. And he's able to put out his wings. And he could fly.
And what's his name?
I never gave him, I just call him Yellow Finch.
Yellowfinch?
Yellow Finch, yeah. So you make all of this, I make the whole thing. And his beak opens and closes. He's still in the work process, you know?
You haven't finished him yet?
You know, I don't believe you actually ever finish any of these. You're always fine tuning them or fixing something. There's always, that's why these toothpicks are holding all the strings. Because
Oh, okay.
I haven't done it permanent yet.
Now, at what point are you gonna get it to talk?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you ask that.
Oh, no.
Well,
Okay.
I have to start thinking as a performer if I want to bring these puppets to life. And that's something I've never experienced with. I could work with the wood, but I've never been an actor or anything like that. So I have to come up with maybe a little show or, you know, a little skit to bring them alive. So they will talk one day. I'm not sure when. This is the last one I just finished. This is a rod. This is called a human rod puppet. This is called Sam the Shaman.
Sam the Shaman.
Yeah, a shaman is a healer, like a doctor. And he's got rods on his hands, if you see, they're attached to his hands. Very hard to work with. Cooperate here, buddy, come on.
He has a tattoo on his forearm, huh? A heart
He has hearts on his hand.
on his hands.
He's got one in the back of his head.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He's very advanced with all these tattoos. He's like 21st century.
Yeah. This one was
That's
hard to
amazing.
work. They just keep getting harder. The projects are getting harder and harder and harder. But
How
that's,
long do you have to do a project, Charles?
you get the puppet 2 lessons every week for a month. And then you're off for a month to create the puppet. So you have them, you're not graded, there's no grades. If you want to make the puppet, you make it. If you don't want to make it, you don't make it. So there's no pressure, no pressure.
Do you need any special wood pieces or where did you get it? I think my son will interest to make a puppet and I will search classes near me.
A lot of the wood that you carve with is called basswood because it's very soft. So it's basswood. So if you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, they'll have pieces there. Or if you go to the lumber yard, basswood. It's,
Does your grandchildren love what you're making or are they interesting to help you or study something from you?
well, they're too young right now to learn how to do this, but they're definitely interested in them when I bring them over. All of a sudden they're like, whoa, you know, like, what do you got there? But no, my children didn't want to learn it, how to do the wood, so I'm doing it myself. This is Sam.
So Charles, you never did a puppet before 6 months ago, right? Is that what
I
you're
ne-
saying?
That's correct. I never.
So that was a whole new hobby only 6 months ago that you started.
Right. I got seriously into carving wood when I retired. Like I said, I've always worked with wood. I've been around wood, but I got serious into carving. And then when I signed up for this program about 6 months ago, it's taken me to this point in my life. Puppets.
What is your hobby instead of making puppets, or do you have any other hobbies?
I like to hike. I like to walk. I like to garden. I like to be outside, walk on the beach. Things like that. But the hobby of the wood keeps me busy. I enjoy that.
For these classes with this guy, you do it online. How many people in a class?
This is online, and this is what's so amazing. He developed this when the COVID hit, because he would travel all over the world and perform and teach. And so when COVID happened, he needed an outlet, obviously, to make money, and he developed this whole online class. So there are people all over the world. Yeah, so there's people all over the world. The class, there's no limit on the amount of people that could be in the class because it's on a Zoom, it's an internet.
Yes, but you have questions to ask, and he needs to be kind of like personal to be able to talk to you. If there are too many people, he's not going to be able to explain.
Okay.
How about the level? They're supposed to be like beginners, advanced, people that are very advanced.
Very, very good question. When he started this online program, he said, anybody can do this with a razor blade and a saw, with the basic bare tools. And there's a gentleman in India who's carving with pretty much a razor blade and a saw.
Everybody know what a razor blade is and a saw?
Yeah.
So he opened the class to people like myself, who I'm not a puppet maker, people who never carved before. And then there are people in there who are puppet makers who are learning more about the business. So it's open to any level. We have a Q&A once a week.
What is that, Q&A?
Question and answers.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And then at the end of the month, we have a live Zoom where we come on just like this. The Q&A, he's live, but you listen to it. You could write a question in, but there's no interaction like this. That's at the end of the month. So there's tremendous amount of instruction. The other students are very supportive, very encouraging, and it's just been a really wonderful thing.
Is he
Charles, I'm
sending
wondering-
you? Is he
ahead.
sending you the what is that, like everything that you show us?
The plans?
He sends the plans, and you print that. I don't have a printer, so I always have to go to my son's house, and he's always printing it for me. And all the lessons are on the computer. You could look at it one time, you could look at it 10 times, you could look at it 20 times. I sit there and I'll stop it sometimes. I'll take a picture of something to get it, clearer, so I know what to do. Because with wood, once you cut it, you're finished. If you make a mistake, oh well.
Done.
It's not
Charles,
like
I'm
clay.
interested in the fact that, we have all these people in this Zoom right now. From every one of these people is from a different country. Although a couple of them may be Russian speakers, but generally they're all from different countries. How do you handle this? How does he handle this with people from all over the world with the language?
You know, it's amazing, but the United States is one of the few countries that doesn't really teach a second language. But many of the other countries, and you folks probably are aware of this, they teach English.
Yeah.
And so there are people from all over speaking English.
So that's what they're using. It's a German man in Iceland speaking English.
Yes, yes. And it's just been fascinating. The woodworking's been fascinating, and the actual Facebook, there's a private Facebook group, which I was never exposed to. And so I joined that, and that really opened up my eyes. I was never aware of any of this, you know?
Can you share the Facebook information eventually? Is it a private group? If
That's a private group. Yeah, the Facebook is a private group.
if
You
person
can
like
go-
me sent a request, is he gonna accept my request, or how I'm supposed to join the group?
What you can do is, did you have the email address, Debbie, when you sent that out before?
Yeah, I'll put it out there.
Yeah, you could email Bern and tell him that you spoke with me, and he may allow you into the group, or he may give you access to something else, so you can get a
Okay.
better understanding of what's going on with it if you're interested.
Yeah.
Because carving is not just for men. There's many, many women carving, many men carving, all kinds of people carving. So he just ran a 4-day webinar, and I think there were like 4,000 people tuned into this. Well, there were 4,000 when you add it up over 4 days. My wife's always correcting me.
That's all right. That's her job. That's her job. Go, Shelley, go.
But yeah, he had a tremendous influx of people. And he chose 4 people from our group to speak at the webinar. And I was incredibly humbled. He chose me to speak at the webinar. And I couldn't understand why. Well, it turns out when the webinar went on, I couldn't hook up. I couldn't get on. I couldn't pass the sound check and the audio check. And so he contacted me and interviewed me the other day privately. He interviewed me. He wanted to interview me because of the level where I was at, the way I came into the program, not being a puppet person. And he wanted to get that perspective so other people could understand where I was coming from. Because he had professional puppet people that he interviewed, you know, artisans, people who were in the field. And so he interviewed me. We talked about 40 minutes, and it was quite nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So
That is very cool.
yeah.
I think that's how I told them about you. We were having an issue last week, and I said people were having trouble getting on Zoom.
Mhm.
And I said, my cousin just had a situation where he was supposed to be a speaker and he couldn't get on. So it ended up turning out okay because you got a private interview, huh?
I got it was an incredible experience. And after the interview, he called me on the phone to thank me. And it was like, wow. I was very much, my heart felt real good.
Do you have a dream when COVID is over to travel and go and see his place?
I keep telling him one day, I'm going to be banging on your door in Iceland. Iceland is a very popular place to visit right now. It's all the tour companies, $500, $600, that's very inexpensive. Well, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
$500 is not cheap, but
No, but that's cheap. And
So-
you know, before COVID, Charles and his wife and family used to travel a lot.
You did a
So
lot of travel, and that's what you
Yeah.
do when you hopefully, when you retire, you hope that you can travel and,
I
you
know.
you work your whole life. Every day you get up, you go work, work, work. There needs to be a point where you can enjoy yourself one day.
Sorry,
Like
are you going to study anything else? Like, I mean, in about puppets, something new. Is there anything else you would like to study?
Just anything else I'd like to study?
Yes, like What
I
about-
would, with regards to puppets or something
Yes.
else.
figures of puppets.
I would like to learn how to perform with them, to have the confidence to be able to sit here and as if Coco was my guest, you know what I mean?
Mhm. And to entertain the people with
Yes,
the puppet.
because
Mhm.
puppets provide a service. It's not like a doll that a child plays with, and the doll goes back into the closet at the end of the day. Puppets have a purpose, and the purpose is to entertain an audience. So I would like to learn to, come out of my shell and to be able to do that.
Do you have any special place to keep these, or do you really keep this amazing thing in the closet, or do you have any like wall or like?
Some of the people they're making like stands for them, so you can put them on a stand.
Mhm.
Because I'll be honest with you, if I just lay them down, I feel guilty. They're starting to like come alive, you know? So if I just throw them in the corner, I go, oh my God, why did I do that? I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
You know what's funny is that he shows me, we text each other every day, and he sends me pictures of the projects he's making. And so I had seen Coco before, but on Sunday, he and I did this just as a practice on Zoom. And he told me that it reminds him of his mother. And the more I look at this, I'm seeing my aunt. Yeah, and so I guess it does, because they do come alive, because this is all of a sudden I'm seeing her, and I'm seeing her dance at weddings and all the stuff that my aunt used to do. So I believe that. I want to ask all of you, because this is a conversation class, I would like those of you that haven't spoken to think about some questions or things, something you'd like to ask Charles, because Laura and Natasha and Elena Lugina, I would like you to, to ask a question or speak a little bit, okay? Can I ask Elena Lugina to say something?
First of all, I want to say big thank you to Charles, because his story was very interesting and very useful for me. I think he have many specific knowledge. I think he know about human anatomy, kinesiology, maybe basic engineering knowledge.
Okay, anatomy, is that you're saying anatomy?
Yes, yes.
Anatomy? And what else? Go ahead.
Engineering. she
Engineering,
mentioned.
okay.
Because it's very difficult to make this part of puppets. Yes, yes.
You are 100% right. A lot of the people in the class have taken anatomy classes, drawing. I've never done any of that. And you are 100% right about the engineering. To make these joints bend and move definitely involves engineering. So I'm learning as I go along. But those are two very important aspects of the puppet making, is the ability to know how to draw the human face, the body, And now how do I get it to work? So very good. Very good.
Many years ago in Russia was very popular Muppet show.
The Muppet Show.
Yes, Kermit Frog, Miss Piggy. I cannot understand what difference between Muppet and puppet.
The Muppets, I believe, were, you know, I have to investigate that. Some of them were hand puppets. They were soft, yeah, they were fabric puppets. They weren't made out of wood. And I don't know if they were marionettes or not with strings. I could look into that though and find out what type of puppets they were if you would like. I could find
Are
that
they
out.
different, the one that you hold them here and you have like a wood here with strings down and the puppet is down here and you move your hand like that and the puppet moves under your hand. In your puppets, you put your hand inside with 1 or 2 fingers or more and you move the puppet like that. Do they have different names for this kind of puppet and that kind of puppet?
Yes, they do. The puppet that you're describing are called marionettes. And they could have up to maybe 9 or more strings.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have their eyes can move, their mouth could open, their head will go up and down. All their arm joints will move. Those are called marionettes.
Yes.
And so when a person is doing a puppet show, he may have the same marionette puppet as a hand puppet. Because the hand puppet, he can do something different in the show that the marionette can't do. The hand puppet could be made to climb up a ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be dressed as the same as the marionette puppet,
Mm-hmm.
but when he's climbing up the ladder, he's serving a different function.
Yep.
So yeah, so you have hand puppets, you have rod puppets, you have marionettes, and you have tabletop puppets. So there are all different types of puppets.
Natasha or Laura, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask? You don't have to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't-
I wanted to ask, like, how you got idea? You got idea about personality of the puppet, like what he has to be like inside, like, you know, like what is his quality, and then you go from there to his appearance or opposite. You go to the, you know, how the body looks, and then what he can do, you know, what is his personality.
That's a very good question.
Charles, you may need to turn a light on in there.
I was
It's
gonna do
getting
that.
dark. It's getting dark. in
Excuse me,
there.
one moment.
You know, he's 3 hours behind us.
Yeah, it's getting dark. Well, Shelley's gonna get it for me. Let's see if that
Okay,
helps.
yeah. Because all of a sudden I'm losing your.
That
There
better?
he is. Oh yeah, what a
Shining
cute
off the
guy.
head.
Cute.
Okay, so when Byrne gives us these are called technical drawings. You could design the puppet any way you want. I don't have that kind of training, so I go off of this. And as I'm carving it, a character will come to me, and it kind of comes out of the wood, basically. The wood talks to me. Because I don't have that ability. I didn't take any drawing classes over the years. So I can't really, you know, I have it up here, but I can't put it on here. So this is the head of the puppet I'm doing now. This is the front view. This is the side view. So he really has no character yet, but as I carve him, I'll develop something.
Charles, is this a bigger puppet than what you've been making, or about the same size?
Yeah, this one is about, I believe it was 36 centimeters. That's funny because he does everything in the metric.
So does this group.
Yes.
Not me, but this group.
And he has made such fun of me because he'll go 3 centimeters, but for the English guy, 1/8 of an inch. 160, 1/64th of a 32nd. And he just loves making jokes about it because it's actually so much more complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know why we never went to the metric.
I know.
So I had to buy a metric ruler, and I'm trying to think in those terms. So I'm trying to educate myself to that as well now. So
Too hard. Tamar, did you want to say something?
Yes. So, how long or how many days does it take to create just one puppet? And so I just was thinking your girl puppet, I don't remember the name.
Coco?
So
Coco?
need like husband, or it seems to me it's really alone. And so my advice should be get couple.
You need an
know.
Uncle Al.
Yeah, it's really okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, there they are. Oh,
I have another one in the workshop that I'm working on that's the same size as this one, but that's not part of the class. So right now I'm concentrating on what I need to do for the class, but I would definitely like to make another one for Coco. Coco, nobody should be alone, you know?
Yeah.
that's right.
But
That's right.
we
Laura,
have
do you have any questions?
How long it takes to make, for example, Coco, if you work without being involved the whole time, like just for pleasure?
probably you're looking at about 3 weeks, maybe.
Okay.
3 weeks. He gives us a month to finish all the project. If you want to do it, you have about a month. Not everybody is up to date on it. Some people haven't done them. Some people have done them. But the group is so encouraging. You should never feel bad that you're falling behind. You know, there's no grades. You don't get graded. There's no midterms. It's very low key, low pressure.
Yeah, I want to ask Laura, do you have anything you want to ask Laura? You don't have to if you don't have anything, but I thought maybe you'd like to
I
have an opportunity.
yeah, I was thinking, I don't know if somebody already asked this. I arrived a little late, sorry. So how do you decide the name? For example, for Coco, it's like, why you decide that name to her? Or is the name of, I don't know.
I throw it around sometimes with my family, you know, what do they look like? What kind of name is coming out of there? And it's kind of a hit and miss, you know what I mean?
Does everybody know what hit and miss means?
Yeah, you try different names until in that case, the right name just fits in for the puppet.
Right. Like Sally didn't work, you know, Sally or
Debbie.
Ruth. I don't know. Coco just came out. Maybe because of Coco Chanel, you know, such an elegant lady.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a Natasha.
Not a Natasha. Maybe I can carve a Natasha. So yeah, you just see what comes around, see what you get a feel for, what feels right.
Okay.
Sorry, don't you want to create yourself or your wife? Like, I think it's gonna be really good thing. Like, I saw one time in Amazon, like one like souvenir. There is like husband and wife hand, and I really want to create mine and my husband's hand and my mother and father's. And I can keep it forever. And I think it's gonna be perfect creatures for like your children and grandchildren.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Charles and Shelley puppet.
Yes, and can you imagine how happy your grandchildren and your children will be when you like 100 years later but pass away? It's gonna be so. For example, if I were you, I will create, definitely.
That's something I can think about doing, you know, that would be very nice, because a wooden puppet will last 100, it'll last 100 years. If you go onto Burns' website, he has 2 puppets that are about 3 feet high off the ground, and that is his mother and father.
Wow. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
That's nice.
And
he,
it should be funny. I think I can't imagine how funny it will be. And could you also share with us your next puppet, please? Maybe our course will not be our like we will be together. Maybe like if it takes 3 weeks.
the one I'm working on right now is a tabletop puppet. This is the one I'm working on right now, a tabletop puppet. And he's going to be I mentioned before, he's going to be Superman.
Yeah, she wants to see it when you're finished.
Oh,
Yeah.
by all means, by all
Yeah,
means.
we'll arrange that, you know, in case the class is already over by then. But you know, this gang has a habit of staying with me, so they may be with me when I'm 90 years old. One thing I want to say is that I want all of you to really be aware of is that here is somebody who is around 70 years old and takes up a new hobby and is learning and creating and doing something special that gives him a lot of joy, and it gives other people joy, because we've talked about that before in some of our conversations about finding things in your life that give you joy. And so it does, sometimes people will say, I'm too old, you know, I can't possibly learn how to use a computer, I can't, you know, learn how to do this and that. Natasha Perry, Charles, her father is such an artist, and he's
I think
old.
you've
How
showed,
old is your
I
how
think
old is
you've
your
showed me
father?
some of his work before.
Yeah, he did this
Yeah.
painting for me. You know, I use it. I have it as my I have it as my screensaver.
Wow, that's beautiful.
How old is Igor?
He's 82.
He's
Oh.
82,
And
he
he
paints
just
like
started-
a crazy person.
Yeah, he started to paint like when he was like around 70.
Oh
And
my,
he's enjoying this so much. He's painting every day.
wow.
When he gave me that painting, it just, oh my God, it's my pride and joy. I just love it. But, you know, there's a lesson here besides the fact that my cousin makes puppets. It's the fact that my cousin has taken something new, and not only is it giving him a lot of joy, but his wife is involved. She's making the hair and the clothes, and it's something they do together. So I think that is so admirable, Charles, that, you know, that you have a hobby and that you part of it is you want to give other people joy. And the fact that you have carved these comfort birds and you give them to people that need comfort. And, you know, you have the biggest heart of anybody I ever can imagine. But the
Thank
fact
you.
that you have taken that into a hobby and are sharing it, you know, that you're sharing that is, I just love that.
It's important to have something else to do with your life aside. Our lives are so busy, we families, we work, but it's important to be able to move away from that for a half hour, an hour, and do something that you want to do. Not something that somebody's telling you, oh, you got to do this now. You got to, something that you want to do. It's very, very important.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's true. Yes.
Our class is just about over. Does anybody have any final thing they would like to say to Charles?
I would like to say I really appreciate for this sharing thing, and it's really unbelievable for me because I can't imagine if I'm sure I'm pretty sure that I can do this, even like I've never ever did any other even painting or nothing, and it's for me it's really incredible what you're doing, and I'm really enjoy today's lesson, and thank you for you and for Debbie. It was really good decision to enjoy
Right.
to invite Charlie to us. So
Great.
really,
I want to thank you
wish you all
people
the best
for
with
having
this
me talk to
Mhm.
you. I want to thank you.
Thank-
And
That's
there's
wonderful.
no such thing as can't.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
Yes, but it's a talent, and I think it's just it doesn't have anybody. It
Well, let me
just
tell you
shows-
something, Tamar. What you're doing in learning, coming to a foreign country, learning English, learning the culture, learning to live here is beyond what many of us can even imagine. So
That's so
No.
true. Very
if
true.
he says anything is possible, you all are making a
You
lot
all are
possible.
examples. Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay, well, I thank you, Charles. I really appreciate you doing this. And I suspect this may not be the last time you're asked
Yeah.
I'd love to come back.
to do this.
I want to say something also.
Okay,
I want to thank Charles for coming and sharing that with us. It's really unbelievable. It's amazing, uplifting. I was wondering nowadays with all this COVID and that pressure, do you think that if you go to elementary school, for example, and share these puppies with kids, they used to have day when they invited parents to share their professional day. For example, I can go as a mail carrier and talk to the kids what I do as my job, stuff like that. Maybe it's gonna be interesting experience for the kids if he shares these animals with and puppets with them. I think they will be amazed and something good. I don't know how it's possible to be done, but
The children come alive when they see the puppets.
I know they will
Byrne, the instructor, has used them with a lot of autistic children.
be. Mhm.
And these children, never saying a word, all of a sudden they're talking. They talk to the puppet. They're able to relate to the puppet. So there's a special power. There's a special
Yes.
power.
That's I don't know how it's possible to be implemented and happen, but that I think it's gonna be so good for the kids if you are able to share that.
I would love to do that one day. I'm hoping we can get this COVID
Mhm.
behind us. And
Yeah.
we could all come back out again and meet and go to the schools like that, not be afraid.
Yes. Yeah.
We have to be strong and we have to all stay together and we'll come out of this. We're gonna be okay. You gotta have hope.
Absolutely.
Gotta have hope.
okay, well, on that note, on that hopeful note, thank you again, Charles. I love you to pieces.
Thank you all so
Always
very
have.
much. Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me here today. I wish everybody all good luck.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you so
Goodbye.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.